Hello, Philip again. So I think this is the fourth video now in my new series, which is reading extracts from my book. And that's me, Philip K. We've already talked about the world is facing a big problem, and humans are facing a big problem by our own deeds, by our own lack of intelligence, and so on. In the last video I talked about the corporate mindset that acts like a locust and it just devours everything in its path. And I suggested that the way to our own healthier space in life, and the byline of my book is health, harmony and happiness. And you can have lots of it. Don't even think you can't, but it's up to you to get it. You don't get health, harmony and happiness. You do certain things that allows health to reveal itself to you, that allows you to be happy and that allows you to be in harmony. So what we do is we get rid of the blockages, we get rid of the things getting in our way, and to do that we have to know what those things are. We have to investigate the root causes of our suffering. So how do we suffer? Do I get angry all the time? Do I worry all the time? Am I lazy all the time? What is my bête noire? And then look for the root causes. Anyway, I've talked about the corporate mindset and all the wars and the injustice and the poverty is enough, and that only individual people can do things. So you can't say, oh, I'm just one person, I can't do anything. It's only one person that can do anything. Half a person can't do anything. So I talked about our lack of collective health, that humanity's a bit sick. And the next the next paragraph focuses on us now. And focusing on our own individual lives, I wonder if you have observed the sad and ailing state of the physical, psychological and spiritual health that marks the lot of so many of us human beings all over the world, and which is ever more keenly seen in the developed nations. Does technological and material progress carry a horrible sting in the tail? Next paragraph. It's hardly surprising we're sick, lost and unhappy, and psychologically floating around in a creek, a rancid creek. Because if we, as indeed we do, pollute and poison the air, waterways and land of Mother Earth that gives us all life, from which we breathe, drink, eat and derive our sustenance, then it stands to perfect reason that we are polluting and poisoning our own lungs, our own bloodstreams and our own flesh and bones. Trash our planet, trash our bodies. And sick bodies lead to unhappy minds. But hey, we directly pollute our minds too. And as for our souls and spiritual essence, virtually out of mainstream society sight, nowhere to be seen nor heard from. Yes, it's not a very nice thought, but we are mentally and physically sick and spiritually empty. Now I say we, as ever I'm talking about humanity. If we investigate the condition of humanity, then we can relate our own personal self to that benchmark to see how we stand and to see where we fit in. And then this is the basis for improving our lives. And that's the whole point of a spiritual revolution, is to transform your life, not just to improve it, it's to transform, change, make fundamental changes to your mindset and to your daily activities and so on. Now, the thing that I was saying in there was that, everybody goes on about, trashing the planet and treating the planet badly and so on, but nobody, beginning to speak now, but for donkey's years, nobody would talk about what they were doing to their own bodies and their own minds. Now, all corporate made food, all junk food, all packaged food, all of it is at the very best neutral to our bodies, but nearly always toxic and poisonous, and require our body to do a lot of extra work to get rid of these toxins. And you can see the size and the shape of people, you can see the unhappiness of people everywhere. And this is because we're feeding ourselves trash. We trash the planet, we trash our bodies. if we pollute the air, we breathe that air. So now, by polluting the air out there, we're polluting our own lungs. Now, you might say, well, it's the factory down the road that's doing that. But I'm talking about humanity. If humanity pollutes the air, then humanity's polluting its own lungs. If we pollute the rivers and all the waterways, that's the equivalent of polluting our own bloodstream. And as we pollute the earth, so we pollute our own bodies, our flesh and our bones. Sick bodies lead to unhappy minds. Unhappy minds lead to sick bodies. You see, we were told, oh, the mind is separate to the body. No, 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 no. The mind's not, my mind's not out there. My mind's somewhere in me. I think it's in here, but it's not out there. It is in my body, and my body is in my mind. It's two, we can identify them as two separate things with perhaps their own duties and their own functions. But you know very well that if you get a cold and you're feeling physically sick and not very well, then you're not exactly happy in your mind, are you? If suddenly somebody comes along and says, oh, very sorry, Philip, but you've got cancer. Now that's a sick body. I'm not going to go around jumping for joy in my mind. My mind's going to be really unhappy about this. And the flip side, of course, when you're happy, you're less ill less often. Our own inner ecosystems mirror the external ones. Both are in a mess. So my food for thought for this particular video is, I'll ask you the question, what do you consume? What is your daily consumption habits? And by consuming, I mean obviously what we put in our mouth, what you breathe, what you put on your skin, and just as importantly, perhaps most importantly of lot, what do we put into our eyes and our ears from the media that we consume? Now there's a pause there. I wanted to, hopefully you can hear all the birds. I'm in nature. I'm with all the birds. I can see lots of greenery and flowers and trees and everything. I'm at our tea house in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. And there's lots of bird activity in the mornings. So this is what I'm consuming at the moment. I'm also producing because I'm talking to you on this video. But if I sit in nature and listen to the birds, or I read the news headlines, all the fear and all the fear-mongering and all that other stuff going on. But I've got to keep informed. I've got to read what's going on. I've got to be informed. Well, I'll inform you that most of it's bullshit. I think you know that anyway. I'm going to go off on one here. When I was a boy in the 70s, we used to have, in England, we had 3 TV channels at the time, BBC One, BBC Two, ITV. And Bruce Forsyth was a famous, funny man. He had his programme called The Generation Game, which would be on Saturday evenings. And as with all celebrities, the newspapers attack them. They like to build them up and then they like to knock them down. It's horrible. And obviously, for whatever reason, Bruce Forsyth was one of their targets, and they were talking about him philandering, taking cocaine, whatever it was, whether it was true or not. Anyway, who cares? But he started his program, I'll never forget, clearly he'd been rattled, and he started the Generation Game on this Saturday. He said, in the newspapers, there's only 2 things you can believe. Number 1 is the date, and number 2 is the TV schedule. The rest of it, you can't believe it. Might be right, probably isn't. But since, you know, when the boy cries wolf, the boy cries wolf. You can't trust the boy anymore. And the newspapers, they lie incessantly. So although they've got truths in there, you know, you've got to work hard to filter out the good fish from the pollution that they're swimming in. Now I've lost track why I went back there. Yeah, so the media. Oh yes, we're consuming, aren't we? So you know, I'll leave you with that. What do you consume? What do you put on your skin, in your mouth, in your ears, in your eyes? What are your consumption habits? And when you investigate your consumption habits, decide, are they good for you, bad for you, or you don't know. If they're bad for you, try and get rid of them. If they're good for you, keep going. Till the next time, have a good day. Bye bye.